What is up? Real Patriots Fishing here, coming at you with a new video. So today I want to talk a little bit about lighted nocks and how to turn those lighted nocks off. If you're into crossbow hunting or just regular hunting and you have lighted nocks and you have issues turning those nocks off, especially if you have a Ravin crossbow, this video is for you. Not a fishing video today, but a little bit about lighted nocks. And not so much about lighted nocks, but how to turn off lighted nocks. For those of you that are struggling to turn your lighted nocks off, or you're damaging the ends of your lighted nocks, I have a solution for you. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so today what I have here is I have some Ravin bolts for their crossbows. Specifically partnered with Nock to make these 400 grain bolts with the lighted nocks on the end of them. And so they're made specifically for Ravins, and they're pretty standard bolts. But I use a lighted nock for a couple different reasons, mainly so I can see where that bolt is going after I shoot it, whether I'm shooting in the morning or whether I'm shooting late in the evening. As that light is starting to settle, I like to be able to see where that is going. These bolts are not cheap. They're about $25, $26 a pop with the lighted nock on the end of them. Couple that with a broadhead and you're looking upwards of, 35 bucks probably a bolt if you lose it. So this is gonna save you from losing bolts in the forest after you shoot. So basically, most crossbow bolts are all the same. Obviously, these are made specifically for Ravin, like I said. But what happens is the force of the crossbow when it's fired turns on this nock. And that happens just like this. You can see it pop on and pop off, pop on and pop off. So if I push hard enough, it's gonna stay on. Maybe. There it goes. Nope. It's going to stay on. Okay? And that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to stay on until you recover that out of a tree or out of an animal or out of a stump in the ground or wherever it is. The two deer that I've shot with this arrow right here in my hand, not with this broadhead, but with this arrow, was pretty cool to kind of watch the trajectory of that crossbow fly. And so when you're shooting at low light conditions, it's easy to lose track of where you shot. The other thing is what I like about using illuminated nocks is it gives me a reference point of where that animal was closely standing when I shot. A lot of times when you're bow hunting, you'll take a shot and you want to wait to make sure that that blood's draining out of that animal to know if you got a good kill or not. And so a lot of the times I'm going to wait 15, 20 minutes before I even attempt to get out of the stand if I know I put a pretty decent shot on an animal. If I know I shot too low or too far back, I may wait even longer. And that's going to put me into extreme low light, even dark conditions. And so I want to be able to go to that reference point where I shot, or at least look at that trajectory. I can go to this lighted nock in the ground, I can look back at my stand, and I can take a pretty good angle of where that animal was standing. From there, I can look for blood if I haven't found the blood already. Most of the times, you're not going to use this if you make a good shot because you're gonna see a good blood trail and you're going to be able to follow that blood trail. But there's times where you don't make good shots and things happen, or you get nervous and you pull that trigger a little quicker than what you want to, or you wait a little bit too long, and the same thing happens. You don't make that good of a shot. And so what I found is when I switched to lighted nocks, it gave me a little bit more confidence to pull that trigger in times where I probably wouldn't have before. And for that, I absolutely love these things, and I recommend anybody that's getting into bow hunting or that's been bow hunting to go ahead and use these. I am not a bow hunting expert. I've only been doing it for probably 5 or 6 years. I don't claim to be an expert. This is just some of the stuff that I've kind of picked up on over this last year using these lighted bolts. So a lot of times people will just grab a pair of pliers and pull this and pull the nock back out, and it'll turn the nock off. I've shot this one, 5 or 6 times out of this crossbow, and so I know that I can probably get it to turn off just by kind of wiggling it, and you can see it's already it's dimmed down already. It's kind of sensitive right now because it's been shot numerous times. If you can look, I don't know if you guys have picked that up on the camera or not, but there is some there are some spots on the end of that where the first time I turned this off, where I was learning, I basically kind of crushed this metal retainer in here, and the lighted knock kind of cracked a little bit, and that kind of scared me. And so I started kind of looking up and researching different things on how should you be turning these off. There are some different hacks out there. You can put a towel over it, a rag, and put a normal pair of metal pliers on it and pull it off, and it'll turn off. It will. But you really risk bending the shaft or cracking the ring that holds the knock in there, that the knock inserts itself and screws into. And so what Ravin did is they partnered with Luminock. That's who made this, Luminock, and they made this thing called the extinguisher. And it's just a small little piece of rubber. If you have a small piece of rubber like this around at your house, it'll probably do the same thing. There's nothing that special about this except that it kind of fits perfectly in a normal size hand. And so this has two uses. Basically, if you're shooting a lot of targets and doing a lot of practice, you can put this on there and grip the bolt and it comes out. No risk of sliding off of here. It's a firm grip. It's super tight on there, which is really good because you don't want to slide off and hit your hand on something. But it's a little bit of protection for two things. You're not going to bend your shaft as much because you got kind of a good grip on it. And two, you can go to the end of this thing and you can put it on there and just put it on like this and then pull, and the knock is off. It's that simple. These do kind of have an expiration date on them. After you fire them a bunch of times, they get more sensitive. But you got to pay attention to what you're doing. Again, these are not cheap bolts. They cost money, $25 a pop. You stick a broadhead on there and it's a couple more bucks. You had a lighted knock on there, it's a couple more bucks. So if you want to protect your investment, these I think are like 15 bucks on Amazon or something like that. You can go out and pick you one up and have it delivered really quick and start using it. It'll save you money in the long run. You don't want to damage these nocks. These nocks are not cheap. And the more that you twist and bend and play and finagle these bolts, the less accurate they're going to be. And the reason I like bow hunting is because you have to be accurate at your shots. You have to take calculated shots and you have to know your distances. It's a bit of a challenge if you bow hunt or crossbow hunt and if you kill a deer with a bow, you know that it doesn't come easy to get a good kill all the time. And so, again, this is just a quick short review on basically how to turn off a lighted knock with the extinguisher. Again, made by Ravin, about 15 bucks. Go out and pick you one up.